welcome back to the rules of engagement. We just wrapped up analyzing Thorzain versus Socke, game number 2. A lot of awesome, cool Heart of the Swarm stuff went on in this game. Explosions, Seeker missiles, EMPs, nuclear weapons, Tempest. If you want to ever work on designing these type of units, how they look graphically, how they move around the map, the animations, all that cool stuff, Blizzard and every other video game company needs people to help work on their games. A great way to get educated in that type of field, fullsail.edu/MLG. Fill out what aspect of game design, if it's audio, video, animation, production, etc. you're interested in. They'll send you some more information about their programs in that area. It's a great opportunity. I encourage all you guys to check it out. But now let's jump into game number 3 of Thorzain versus Socke. At this point, Thorzain is up 2-0, and Socke just got demolished in a grueling late game against Thorzain's basically late game to look almost unbeatable. So in the third game, of course, Thorzain's got to make sure he can get to that late game, which involves making an ideal defensive setup to get through the early game, and then also understanding the tactical importance every single unit of his army plays in defending an aggressive, very powerful all-in, and of course, what your production should be looking like while you're defending said all-in. Let's jump into this game now. And this is going to be on Core Hall City. And this is a situation a lot of Terrans are in where, you know, similar to Game 1, you scouted, you know it's a type of tech type thing. And this is the build that partying in the earlier WSS and a lot of Protoss players in Heart of the Swarm have been dominating Terrans with the Void Ray all-in. With the new Void Rays, the bunkers evaporate so fast to them. It's a very, very, very powerful all-in build. And a lot of Protoss are getting proficient in the timing of it. So, what's important is to have an ideal defensive setup, right? And so if you look at Thorzain's setup, a couple of cool things is that you want to make sure you're set up because you don't know what's going on yet. In fact, let me actually move the screen just a tiny bit. There we go. He doesn't know what's coming at him quite yet. It could be a Blink all-in. A lot of teams complain about that. It could be Oracle Harass. It could be a Void Ray all-in. It could be Immortal all-ins are just a weaker version of Void Ray all-in, so you don't really see that. Anything that'll beat Void Ray all-in will also beat Immortal all-in. But you want to get this ideal defensive setup. And there's a couple key aspects to such an ideal defensive setup. Of course, one of the most important things is make sure it's safe versus a frontal assault, as well as a Blink all-in. And the key thing there is control the space in your base. Now, if you're going for tanks as a way to control space, which I recommend, they're a great way because of their super huge range, that tank can protect a large area of your base. As long as your siege tanks stay alive, you can methodically retake parts of your base that Blink Stalkers take over. You can defend the ramp while being a little bit further back from it so your tanks are safer. It's a very powerful tool, but they've got to keep them alive. So make sure that if, let's say, a frontal assault comes in here, they've got to go through this bunker first, right? If Blink Stalkers try to blink up here, they've got to funnel through these tiny little choke paths, and your tank's still safe because you can easily pull SCVs, get Marines in front of there in time, etc. They blink up into open area. They've got to deal with that bunker right there. So, very, very ideal setup. Make sure the tank is safe. That's a key aspect of defending. If you don't know what all in they're doing, the tank's the most important aspect because it's so multi-platformed in its defense. So, it's very, very, very important to have that setup there where you can cover against anything. The other important thing is, of course, similar to what we talked about in Game 1, make sure you have reaction time to get those SCVs out against a frontal assault or back up a little bit. And what that means is, one, it's good to have a fallback location right there, right? Make sure you have that fallback location further back so that, let's say, the Protoss comes in here and they lay down a whole bunch of force fields here, right? Zoop. Then you lose this bunker, but you can move your tank back here. You've got another bunker. Your SCVs can come in here, and you'll have the SCVs, and you have the tank, and then maybe you rally out Widow Mines or something that can instantly burrow when they pop out of the factory. And so you got that great fallback position back there. So even if they break your front, you got a fallback position. But ideally, you want to make sure they can't even get to your front without you noticing it. So that's why if you go into Thorzain's viewpoint, what does he do? If you look at this through Thorzain's viewpoint, he's got his, let's look at this as his camera actually, and watch this in slow motion. Right? If you notice, he's checking out to make sure a Blink all-in can't hit him. He notices the front, instantly pulls SCVs out there, right? And then the other thing he does, make sure these Marines get back. The Marines are extremely important. This is where I talk about the tactical importance of each unit in the situation, right? he now knows it's a Void Ray all in, right? Because he can see the composition of the Protoss player. Now, against this type of all in, if you lose the Marines, you've got SCVs and tanks. SCVs and tanks aren't so great against Void Rays. It's just they don't shoot air. So it's very important to keep the Marines alive. Because you're on 2 bases, you got double mules, your opponent's all in. Afford to lose some SCVs. You want to keep the tank alive as well, because that's your main anti-ground unit. So to get all those, you can pull back the Marines, give up ground. You don't worry about holding the ramp. Give up ground if you have to, but get those SCVs in front. They have the same life as Marines roughly, but you'd much rather lose an SCV than a Marine, as they're weaker at combat, and combat's really what you're prioritizing. So as they're coming in here, make sure to prioritize those Marines. Keep them away from any Zealots, right? That Zealots there touching your Marines, that can't happen. Marines, get back, get back. There we go, exactly. Thorzain pulls the Marines back. Great play coming out from him, making sure the SCVs stay in front of the bulk of the Marines. Of course, these 2 Marines are brave. They're right up in front there with their basically no life, and they're probably going to die. So ideally, you don't have brave Marines, but you have 1 or 2 brave guys, it's okay. Don't inspire the rest. The most important thing is get the bulk of your Marines behind those SCVs. Make sure to keep them alive as long as possible. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is as you go forward at defending an all-in, right? That was just the first wave. Protoss waits for another Guardian Shield because they need Guardian Shield to engage this. Waits for another warping of Zealots, so their important units, the Sentries and Stalkers, don't all die instantly. And then they're going to come in again, right? So you got to keep the SCVs in front there. But also, check out your production, right? Look at this production tab. Now, when you're defending all-in and you're thinking about production, how many of you guys out there are building SCVs, right? Probably not too many. You're like, I've got to build units. So what you do is you select your barracks, you hold down the A key. Nope. And you queue up like 5 Marines in that barracks. You're like, yeah, I'll get a bunch of Marines stuff. But it's important to notice, queuing up 5 Marines in the barracks doesn't actually make Marines any faster than queuing up 1 at a time. So it's very important. If you're fighting all in, and you've got, I mean, check out his income, right? Jump to his income. He doesn't even have any mules landed right now, and he's already got 700 income. And this is with all the SCVs out in the front. And so as soon as he starts landing some mules, his income is going to skyrocket. I mean, right now he's got 0 mules there, 0 mules here, and of course he could be landing mules at both these command centers. So, I mean, that's a little of a multitasking thing. He's a little bit, there's so much going on, you know, you can't blame him. But definitely, you have enough economy, right? You have the economy that you can afford to produce out of both your barracks, your factory, and SCVs at the same time. So if you're not producing SCVs, what are you using those minerals on? You can build more barracks, but by the time they finish, you either get it, you'll have won or lost the game already at that point anyway. So very important, if you have the income to keep your other production buildings going, which as Terran you always will because you have mules, so you're always going to have enough income, go ahead and build SCVs as well. They're not ideal combat units, but you'd rather have an SCV than an additional back-queued Marine, additional 500 minerals. And you need every single guy you can get out there at the front. You know, even if you don't like the draft, if you're tearing your final in, you got to draft those SCVs and get them out there in the front because you need every single able body you can get to hold the walls. So very, very important to keep that SCV production going. And I mean, not to mention you're probably going to lose some of these guys because they're kind of the meat shield. And then, of course, just keep getting tanks. Keep your other production going as well. And remember to drop the mules, because that's what lets you keep the production. So remember to drop the mules. If your opponent tries to distract you like this, just don't overreact. It's okay to give up the natural, you know, and just have your Marines kind of just hang out. You can pull the SCVs away, and it's fine. Even mining off 1 base with only a few workers, you got double mules. So you're way ahead in economy. And just hang in there. Keep getting more and more tanks. And, of course, once you get a critical number of tanks, as soon as your opponent tries to come up here, I mean, the tanks will just obliterate. The first volley knocks out these guys. The second volley, important thing is to micro your tanks, right? Watch this from Thorzain's. Well, you can't actually see how he's microing, but your next volley, target the sentry with Guardian Shield, right? If you can't click it, just mash that right hit mouse button right here. Just keep hitting right click right there with your tanks. And eventually you'll hit some ground unit that's around the sentry. And then as soon as you do that, you want to knock out that Guardian Shield because, boom, you see how he targeted that area. If you hit these units, they're more important to kill. And you won't splash your own units. And if you can get rid of that Guardian Shield, all of a sudden your Marines are so much more effective against those Zealots. But in either case, I mean, if you have the tanks there, they'll blow up the ground. You keep the Marines in the back, right? Keep those Marines in the back. Don't worry about SCV losses, because Marines in the back mean that once you kill the ground army, even if there's a couple Void Rays left, your Marines can come forward there and get rid of those remaining Void Rays. So A great played game by Thorzain. A few Terrans are out there are losing the Protoss 1 base all-ins. Instead of rage quitting, just think about how you can make your defense a little bit stronger. Set up the ideal defense. Make sure SCVs are in the front. Make sure you're constantly producing units out of every production structure, including your command centers. And make sure that you're comfortable giving up your natural if you have to. You got double mules. You'll still be ahead in economy no matter what. And you should be able to hold those 1 base all-ins a little bit more convincingly. So wraps up game number 3 of Thorzain vs. Socke. Thorzain took that series 3-0 again. Watch those VODs because I couldn't go over everything, especially in Game 2. There's some great stuff there. YouTube.com/official MLGSC2. But we'll take a short break and be right back with the Q&A.